Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and today we are doing our summer Q&A, and oh my god, you guys are insane, like in the best possible way. In the 3 to 4 weeks since I first put out that call for questions, I have literally gotten over 40 questions. Like, I distilled, all the questions down to their most basic form, and a lot of people had the same question, if that makes sense. So the total number of questions was like way over 40, probably way over like 60, which I so appreciate you guys wanting to know my thoughts and just write to me and ask me all these things, but I figured I'd better jump on and do this now before I get even more questions, and if need be, I'll just do another Q&A later. Also, on the questions, I have paraphrased them down, so I'm not reading like a full paragraph of text per question. And with each question, I'm not including names, because last time I had some people say, hey, next time can you just leave me anonymous? And then other people got upset because I forgot to include their name because multiple people asked the same question. So for sake of keeping everyone happy and keeping everything even and equal, this time I'm just gonna read the question, no names attached. Each question will be a chapter in the video, so if you don't want to listen to this whole thing end to end, which I totally don't blame you for, because I'm sure it's gonna be long, you can find each question as a chapter in the video down in the chapter toggle in the play bar, and that way you can just skip and jump to either your question or questions that that interest you. And somewhere in this video will be the giveaway. Just like last time, we are going to do a giveaway, and I am so excited for what I have to give to one of you today. And so you'll find all of that information about how to enter the giveaway and how it'll work when we get to that point in the video. So let's go ahead and dive in. Oh, and one more thing. So I've gotten there are a lot of questions that kind of all roll up to a general subject, and so I've grouped those all together as well. So if there's a subject that interests you, all the questions that pretty much pertain to that particular subject matter will be grouped together, so hopefully that makes it easier for you all to watch as well. Starting with the biggest and kind of the thing that I've gotten the most questions about with this Q&A is the GX550, and no surprise there, though I put the call out for questions before I did the GX Drive video, so I think some of those may have gotten answered in there. But the things that you all wanted to know about the GX550 are things like, is it really a Lexus? Hood vibrations, how's the noise, body roll without KDSS, and then thoughts on 460 versus 550. And if you watch the 550 video, I think it's probably pretty clear how I feel about it as a car, as a Lexus, as a as a replacement for my GX460. And here's the thing that reading some of the comments, looking back, I wish I had emphasized a little bit more in that video that it's not a bad product, and for its intended demographic, which are the hardcore off-roaders, the 4Runner TRD Pro owners, the the people who are going to use it off-road like 60% of the time, I think it's going to make those people really, really happy. And I say that like wholeheartedly. Like, I don't think it's a bad product, I just think it's a very different kind of product. However, for people like me who keep their GX on road 90% of the time, it's not a great road going product. It's not a great luxury car product. And here's the other thing, because it's not a great luxury product, because it's not really a luxury product at all, I also think it's about $10,000 more expensive than it really should be. Like, all the GXs really should just be the V6 version of the Toyota Land Cruiser at Toyota Land Cruiser prices, which I know are already high, but still, $85,000 or so for a fully loaded GX luxury is way too much money for the quality of product that you are getting here. And this is what I don't think all these overlanding enthusiasts fully understand about the GX460 is the GX460 is not a soft roader, okay? This is a hardcore, very capable off-road vehicle. Yeah, it may need some bumper modification or whatnot to do it, but the mechanical underpinnings of this car are just as capable as the GX550, but we did not have to sacrifice luxury to have that capability. We got to have our cake and eat it too. And so the GX really is, like I said in that video, a more premium 4Runner, a more powerful 4Runner, but it's not a true Lexus product. It's not a luxury product. So we're going to take my GX on a Mountain West road trip here this summer, and that's going to be, 8-hour days on the road. We're going from here in Texas to New Mexico, Utah, Wyoming, just kind of that whole Colorado, that whole region. And I would not want to drive that GX550 like for, you know, those 8 to 10 hour stretches on the highway. I think that would be pretty miserable. But, you know, in Moab, in Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains, I think it'd be amazing. So that's kind of how you have to look at the GX550. It is no longer the kind of all-rounder that the GX460 was. It is truly an off-road only and off-road oriented kind of vehicle. And to me, I just feel like that's a big miss, because the GX460 could do that too, but you could also, there was a great comment from GX460 Off-Road that I'll screenshot and put here in the video. Like, the GX460 could do that, and it could do the road tripping. And so I think we've lost like about half of what made the GX460 such a great car. Okay, moving on. Second question. You bought your GX460 because of the V8. If the new 550 had a V8, would you trade yours in for one? Okay, this is a really great question, because yes, I did buy my GX460 because I wanted the last, you know, Lexus and Toyota truck with a V8. Would I buy the new one if it had a V8? Probably not. And I'll just be very honest about that. Even if it had this exact same drivetrain, if, you know, it drove more smoothly, if it had KDSS, the engine is not my problem in there. It really is just the interior in there. So yeah. Next question. Your video made me wonder why it's even branded as a Lexus. I think it's fine as a Toyota, and I felt the same seeing the TX. It should just be it should be a top trim of the Grand Highlander. Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't understand why the GX is branded as a Lexus, because I think as a Toyota, it'd be fine, right? It's fine to cut corners and cheap out on a mainline car. But you know what's funny about this too, is I actually have thought recently that Highlander has a nicer interior than RX. Grand Highlander can have a nicer interior than a TX. And the Land Cruiser, the actual Land Cruiser 250, I actually do think has a nicer interior than the GX, because especially in like the nicer trim, so like the Land Cruiser trim and the first edition with the brown leather inside, I actually think that looks nicer than the ugly black interior in the GX. So I don't know. It's almost like Toyota's trying to kill the Lexus brand. Like, I don't know what else to say beyond that, because why would you not make your luxury product a luxury product? Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't do that, but yet they're not. So it's weird. Okay, moving on. Second section or subject matter here is Toyota pricing. I've gotten a lot of questions, unsurprisingly, about Toyota pricing, so let's get into that. First question on this. Will these trucks that are priced like luxury cars depreciate like luxury cars? This is a great question, and this is something I've been thinking about ever since we started to see these astronomical prices. So like when we got Land Cruiser pricing, I was like, ooh, that's going to be interesting to watch from a depreciation standpoint, because it is priced like a luxury car. And then we got the Tacoma pricing, and I was like, ooh, even more interesting that we're starting to see, you know, these Toyota products being priced in Lexus territory. Here's the thing that people don't understand about depreciation. The biggest factor in depreciation is how much people are willing to pay for that car on the secondhand market. So you can have the most reliable car in the world, like an LC500 or like an LX570. They still depreciate like luxury cars. So people will think about Toyota and go, oh, they're never going to depreciate, and I'm going to buy it and get all my money back. Not always. That is true. That is true when the car was a great value to begin with, so people are still willing to pay high prices after the fact. However, if the car was exceptionally expensive to begin with, then no, people are not willing to pay, they're going to pay a lot less for it on the secondhand market. And again, we see that with LX, we see that with LC, we see that with LS as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Tacomas are already piling up on lots, and and people are not willing to buy them. So people are not willing to pay the price of the car new. They are absolutely not willing to pay the price of the car used. And for these people who are buying, who are like, rushing out to get a Land Cruiser, rushing out to get a Tacoma, and will be rushing out to get a 4Runner, if you pay new price, forget markups for a minute, if you just pay the new price, the new MSRP on one of these cars, and then they start discounting them, there goes your depreciation, because some random person out there 2-3 years down the line got that thing for like a $5,000 to whatever $1,000 discount off. That discount's getting taken right off your depreciation. So I don't know. it's another reason why I am a big proponent of waiting a few years on any new car, because you never know what's going to happen. Like the GX, I'm assuming that I'm hoping, I'm not assuming, I'm hoping that Lexus course corrects and really redoes the interior in the next, like, maybe 1 to 2, 3 years. But if they do, right, completely redo the interior and they bring it up to Lexus spec, now you've got the crap interior that no one is going to want on the secondhand market, because no, it's a piece of junk. So again, it's all about market conditions at a future point in time, and no one can predict the future. No one knows what's going to happen a year from now. So don't ever, even with Toyota, don't ever go into the purchase of a car assuming that your resale value is going to be, a certain percentage or whatever. You can very easily and very quickly get burned by doing that. Okay, next question. Do you think they will be able to sell Toyota volume at these Audi prices? I love the way that this question is phrased, because that is actually spot on to what is happening today. We've got, Tacoma, 4Runner, Land Cruiser, GX being priced at, BMW X5 prices. Tacomas are in Audi Q5 territory. Look at the sales figures for Porsche Cayenne, BMW X5, Audi Q7. People just can't afford to buy those cars, and so they don't sell in the same numbers that Toyota used to sell Tacomas at. And I don't really understand what the end game here is for Toyota, because exactly the sentiment of this question, does Toyota want to sell Toyota volume, which is what has always made them money, or do they want to sell, way fewer cars at Audi price points? Again, look at Tacoma. It's piling up on lots. I wonder why. So I don't know. This is going to be, again, it's going to be interesting to watch. And if they are not happy with the way that their sales are looking, what they do to try to correct and improve them, whether that's discounts, whether that's lowering prices, whether that's 0% financing or whatever, it's going to be really interesting to watch over the long term. Okay, next question, still kind of on the Toyota pricing note though. What cars would I still buy from Toyota, if any, and why? So Toyota right now is strictly an appliance brand. I am not going there for anything, and this is Lexus included. I'm not going to Toyota for anything that is an emotional, I love it kind of purchase. They are basically I'm going to look at them the same way I look at Kenmore or Whirlpool or, whatever. If I want a basic extra fridge for the garage, that's what I'll go to Toyota for. Okay, perfect example. So I get a lot of questions from people who say, what should I buy my teenager who's going off to college as their first car? And my response is always Corolla Cross, RAV4. And I'm going to go for the base model. I'm going to go for the cheapest possible Toyota I can find. So for me, I would buy a Prius, I would buy a Corolla Cross, I would buy a RAV4 hybrid, I would buy a Camry hybrid. That's what I'm buying from Toyota today. I'm not buying anything else. I'm not buying 4Runner, not buying Land Cruiser, not buying GX, TX, whatever, and not anything I'm going for because I love it. Okay, the next question actually builds right on that. With Toyota pricing, what would I buy if I had to get a new midsize premium SUV today, and why? So I was just talking about, I would not go to Lexus for anything I love. I'm going to go to Infiniti. Honestly, I would buy that QX60 in a heartbeat. I would write them a check. If I needed a new car in that class, I would be down there writing them a check today because I love that car so much. I didn't want to give it back. If that is too small and or you want a body on frame car, I would definitely go for a QX80, the new QX80. I might give that one a year just because there's a lot of new stuff in it, but I would absolutely buy that. I would also go with MDX, and I would specifically go with the MDX Type S if you can afford that. So MDX Type S is in the mid-70s, which is expensive. However, it's the same price essentially as a TX 500H, and in the MDX Type S, you are getting a twin-turbo V6 in a really nice driving car. So that's what I would do. If I was to lease, I would absolutely go and buy an X5, a Q7, if I was leasing, I would also go for a Grand Cherokee. I know some of you don't like that when I say it, but I would. If I wasn't gonna, those are not cars I would write a check for because I don't want to be responsible for them longer than 3 years. But if I was leasing, yeah, absolutely. Moving on, next question. Do you think it's still true that people who are smart with their money are the ones buying Toyota today? The cheap cars, yes. So again, Camry, RAV4, Corolla Cross, Prius, what else is there? Venza, Crown Signia. I think people who go for those are, yes, smart with their money. by the way. It looks like it's going to start raining, so I apologize if it just randomly gets dark in here, as I think it is. Anyhow, so I think the people who are buying those cars are smart with their money. Yes. I think people who buy those cars have their priorities in order. However, and I don't mean to offend any of you out there, but the people from whom I have heard are in line and buying a Land Cruiser, a GX, any of these new outrageously expensive cars, Tacoma TRD Pro, they don't strike me as the most intelligent people out there. And I don't mean to offend again, but like, here's the weird thing about the people who got butthurt about my GX video. They were like adamant, like incredibly adamant. What, the GX is an amazing deal. How can you say that this is not worth the money when, Lexus is giving us all of this for $90,000? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you not understand how much money that is? Like, really? So I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, moving on. Next subject: other Japanese automakers. So first question in here is thoughts on Honda and Acura. I love Honda. My parents are Honda people, so I grew up with Hondas. So Honda all day long. I love the new Civic. As you saw, I've driven my mother's new Civic. I love the CRV. I almost bought. I had a check at the Honda dealer sitting there for a new CRV before I bought my NX. And I would have bought the CRV had they not messed up my order for it. I also love the new Accord. I think the new Accord is a great looking car inside and out. Honda's interiors right now are top of the mainstream class in terms of quality. And I actually said in the video I did with my mom's Civic, there are things in her Civic that are nicer than what was in my NX at the time. The only Acura cars that I would touch are the MDX or the Type S, MDX Type S and TLX Type S because of the twin turbo V6. And Honda does a twin turbo V6 really, really well. But anything else beyond that? No, because I think the Honda cars are so nice that you don't have to go and buy an Acura. Okay, next question. Thoughts on Mazda? Mazda doesn't do anything that's particularly interesting to me, and I don't feel like they have, just because so what interests me in a car are things like, again, like a great truck. I love a great truck. I love a great hybrid. Mazda doesn't do trucks, and they only do hybrid in the CX-90 thus far. But for me, hybrids are also about appliance-like driving. I'm looking for a cheap, economical hybrid, which is not the CX-90. They also don't really have any, they don't have any brand, legacy other than the Miata, really. And I feel like they're kind of searching for an identity. I don't know if they've really found what their thing is, so to speak. Like Toyota's thing, hybrids and trucks. Honda's thing, VTEC and Type S and Type R. Subaru's thing, all-wheel drive. Mazda's kind of looking for that identity, I think. They do drive really well, but I also, in the mainstream class, I don't prioritize driving dynamics. So if you do, that's what Mazda's great for. Mazda resale also, by the way, is not as good as Honda and Toyota and Subaru. I think partly because they don't have the heritage and the legacy and that really strong buyer base. I think that's why their resale tends to be a little bit worse than some of the other Japanese automakers. Okay, next question builds on Mazda. Thoughts on the CX-50 and CX-90? Okay, so CX-50 and CX-90 are mostly new from the ground up. CX-90 is entirely new from the ground up. And the problem with that is, much like we're seeing with new Toyota trucks, which are also brand new from the ground up, there are a lot of things and bugs and kinks that I think still have to get worked out for those Mazda products. And that's reflected in their quality and reliability scores at the moment. So I would not touch a CX-50 or a CX-90 probably for the next, I'd say, 2 to 3 years. Okay, next question. I'm going to try to speed this up because I'm realizing how long this is going. Thoughts on Subaru? I love Subaru. I have a really soft spot in my heart for Subaru because that's a brand. So talking about Mazda and kind of the lack of identity, Subaru's identity is like rock solid. And you have owners that will never buy anything other than the Subaru. I have friends who, even though Toyota might make a better car, a more luxurious car, more refined car, even though Honda might have a higher quality interior, whatever it might be, don't care. Only Subaru or nothing. And fun fact, I actually owned a Subaru, and I forgot to mention this in the diecast video because I don't have a model of this car, but I own for a bit the last year of the 3.6R, which was the H6 or the flat boxer 6 in the Subaru Outback. I love that car. I loved the all-wheel drive system in Subarus are the symmetrical all-wheel drive, legendary, so capable, so just great to drive both on-road and off-road. I actually think there's a lot of the way that my GX460 drives that reminds me of the way that my Outback 3.6R Touring drove. The other thing I loved about my Outback was I kitted that thing out with all the JDM parts, and I tried to make it look like, a Volvo cross country or an Audi all-road with Subaru reliability. Love that car so much, and I actually ended up selling that for more than I paid for it when I bought my 4Runner. Subaru, other thoughts. I love the Forester. I love the Crosstrek. The Crosstrek is again, that's another one of those cars. What's the best car to buy for my teenager who just started driving? Crosstrek all day long, especially if they're going to college somewhere with inclement weather. You cannot do better than a Subaru Crosstrek with all-wheel drive and Michelin cross climate tires. You can get through anything in there in that car. You can get through things that my GX can't get through. The only complaint I have with Subaru is they tend to use CVTs more than I would like, though their CVTs are very good. The only thing, the thing with the CVT is they use it in the Ascent. Every other full-size SUV uses an automatic, and I'm talking Highlander, Pilot, Telluride, Explorer, Grand Cherokee, Pathfinder, CX-90, Atlas. Every other vehicle in that class uses an automatic. Subaru is sticking with their CVT, and I think that's partly why sales of that car are way lower, because why would you want to buy that when you could get something with a real automatic and a better engine? So yeah. Okay, next question. Thoughts on the Outlander PHEV? Yeah, I would buy we were actually going to, if we couldn't get at the time a RAV4 Prime, we were going to buy an Outlander PHEV. Something that a lot of Americans don't know, because Mitsubishi is kind of like Infiniti. They haven't really focused on the US, so they don't have the brand presence and kind of general awareness amongst the general public about their cars. The Outlander PHEV was the last generation, was the best-selling plug-in anything in the world, and the Outlander PHEV has been around a lot longer than any other plug-in, including the RAV4 Prime. So as it pertains to, long-term, just a manufacturer that knows how to do this well, or know how to do plugins well, Mitsubishi is up there. And I would buy an Outlander PHEV. I would buy one. Okay, next topic. This one is, some of you guys are really going to like this. On YouTube and YouTubers.
See, okay, well, what do you do for work? She's unemployed. No, I'm not. I'm a YouTuber. Same thing.
First question. What do you think about these YouTubers who get flown to Hawaii by Toyota and then say nothing but wonderful things in the videos they make while they're there? It reminds me of watching QVC and HSN. And then this person says, I'm old. And it's funny because I love this question so much, because QVC and HSN, I thought that before I even read the rest of that question, and I've thought that as I've watched a lot of these, so-called journalists reviewing these cars. Anyone who watched QVC or HSN, to take that with a grain of salt.
This is a really important hour. We have a value that is so unparalleled. This is off the charts. Incredible. This is the best value we've ever had. It's peace of mind.
Yeah.
Peace of mind.
I think it's just look, be honest about what you're doing. You're not reviewing the car. You're not giving us a real world perspective on, how this car is to drive and all that kind of thing. You're there advertising it for Toyota. You're there to shoot, really pretty imagery of the car. But I'm not taking you seriously as an objective, unbiased third party. No. And here's something to know about the behind the scenes on YouTube. When you upload a video, I'll try to put a screen grab in here if I can get this to this screen while I'm editing this. When you upload a video to YouTube, there's a specific checkbox that you're supposed to click if the content that you're making was paid for or sponsored by anybody. And I don't do that because I don't need to ever do that, because I'm never sponsored and I'm never paid to do this. But all these YouTubers who go to Hawaii on Toyota's dime, they absolutely need to be clicking that box because they were sponsored by that. This, a 5-star hotel in Hawaii, that's $1,000 a night. No, I'm not kidding. So you're getting paid $1,000 a night plus probably first class airfare to Hawaii. You could easily, in a trip to Hawaii with Toyota, it could cost individually per person upwards of $5,000 to $10,000. And you think that that's not worth saying you were sponsored to do that? It's it's bullshit to me that a lot of them don't. So I didn't mean to go on a rant about that, but that's what I think of those people who do that and then say nothing but good things and have the nerve to be like, oh, but we're journalists. No, you're not. I hold journalism in the highest regard because I respect journalists who do the research and do the fact checking and do the, truly, are the voice of the battered consumer. They're not. YouTubers are not. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, moving on. Biggest pet peeve about other YouTubers. Okay, so beyond what I just said, my biggest problem with other YouTubers, and really the reason I started this channel, is I don't feel like I'm represented by them. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of these YouTubers who, especially the Toyota ones, they're not luxury car buyers. They're not Lexus customers. They are, a lot of them do the whole off-roading and overlanding thing. And when it comes to them reviewing a new vehicle, this is what I've really seen. The GX is a great example of this. They don't know what I'm looking for. And so they're not talking about what I'm looking for. And I'm not faulting them for this. It'd kind of be like if I were to go review an M5. I have no idea what the M5 buyer cares about or is looking for. So my boss at work, my managing director at work, she is a sports car and supercar enthusiast. She has had the M5 competition. She currently has an RS e-tron GT, which is gorgeous. But I don't know the first thing about what she would care about. So if I were to make a review for, an M5 buyer, I would flop because I don't know what they look for. I don't know how they want their car to drive and all that kind of thing. And so going back to the heart of this question, a lot of these YouTubers, they have so much confidence in themselves reviewing every car out there on the market. And it's like, well, I don't care about half the things you're talking about, and you've missed half the things that I care about. So, okay, next question. I love your non-manufactured sponsored honesty. Thank you. But wouldn't it benefit you to get sponsored and let them buy your opinions the way they do with all the other YouTubers? I'm just curious why you don't take advantage because you're great and you so could. Well, first of all, that's so nice. Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. But to your question, that's not why I do what I do. I don't ever want to be, because I would legitimately feel guilty if I came on here and said, oh my God, you guys, the new GX, go write a check tomorrow for it. Because I don't believe that. Like, what is the point of someone, okay, beyond the money, beyond the free trip to Hawaii, what is the point in someone getting up here on YouTube and telling someone to spend money that they probably don't have on a product that's not good? I don't know. So John always says YouTube is not supposed to be a career. And I think that's kind of the problem. So a lot of these YouTubers, they are dependent upon manufacturers inviting them to events, giving them cars, and, making money off of YouTube. So of course they're going to do whatever it takes to get the views, to get the products, and to get the reaction to their videos. I don't care if people don't watch my videos. I don't care if people don't like my videos. Oh, and the other thing to know about my channel here, okay, is I do show products and I do spotlight businesses from time to time here on the channel. So things like places like Authentic Details and companies like the Hail Protector. But hear me loud and clear. Anything I show, I paid for that with my own money. They didn't know who I was before I made that video. And that is how, like, I get emails like weekly or even more often than that. Hey, we would love to give you a product to show for free, give it to you for free to have you promote it in your videos. And I'm like, no, because I don't trust when people promote products that they're given, because that tells me you were not willing to spend your money on that thing in the first place. But you're showing it because it was given to you for free. So now that's no longer an unbiased, true, like, customer review. That's paid promotion, again, advertising. But I'm not going to go out of my way to, skew my opinions or make false claims just to get clicks, just to get views, in order to get the revenue from that. So I would not want to do that. That's why I don't want to make YouTube a career ever. So yeah. Let's move on to general questions, and this is going to be pretty much the rest of the video. Okay, so first question in this section. A lot of people on the internet say turbos don't last as long as naturally aspirated engines. Is that actually true? This is a great question. And it all depends is my answer. Because here's the thing. So I see this in my comments all the time. I can't buy a turbo engine because it's not going to last as long. Or I have to have a naturally aspirated engine because it's going to last a lot longer. And here's the thing, okay? It depends. It doesn't depend on the turbo or whether it's turbocharged or naturally aspirated. It depends on how well that engine was built. So what I mean by that is, you know, if you look at just in general at the auto market, there are a lot of naturally aspirated engines that are never going to make it to 100,000 miles. And that's across all brands: Japanese, American, German, European, you know, whatever. There, on the flip side of that, there are a lot of turbocharged engines that'll last unquestionably for hundreds of thousands of miles. And so one of the things I will give Toyota the benefit of the doubt on, beside the V35, which has all kinds of problems, but they're not turbo problems, by the way, so keep that in mind. It's not the turbo in there, it's the actual engine block that is having problems. So Toyota has a track record for reliability. Even though they're outrageously priced now, they do have the track record for reliability. So a turbo from Toyota, I would trust way more than a turbo from like Fiat Chrysler. I wouldn't trust a naturally aspirated engine from Fiat Chrysler either. So it's irresponsible to make blanket statements like turbo engines are less reliable than naturally aspirated engines. And factually, it's not. In the bigger picture, not true. You know, even Toyota has had a lot of turbocharged engines that are great and some naturally aspirated engines that are duds. I don't like the way that turbo engines drive because they can be jerky, they can be unpredictable, and they don't feel as linear and smooth as a V6. That's why I love my naturally aspirated V8, our Camry's naturally aspirated V6, and the same thing with that naturally aspirated V6 in the QX60. Linear power, really smooth acceleration, flat torque curve, but that is a different story. The drivability and the driving nature of a turbo is a totally different story than reliability with a turbo. Okay, moving on. What do you think of everything in cars being a subscription? I have a new Toyota with the new software and recently discovered that navigation is a subscription that I only have a 1-year trial to, and I'm pissed. Yeah. Welcome to the world of cars. It's disgusting to me that automakers have started to see the infotainment system as a source of revenue. That's unacceptable. No. And that's honestly one reason. So Toyota's new infotainment system is better than in some ways, than what we had before. However, navigation in my GX is not a subscription. Navigation in our Camry, not a subscription. Navigation in the QX60, not a subscription. But it is a subscription in every new Toyota and Lexus product with the new Toyota multimedia system. In new Toyotas, some don't even come with a free trial. Others come with a 1-year free trial. And Lexus cars typically, I think, come with a 3-year free trial. After that trial period ends, you don't get a map on the screen at all. You get that stupid purple screen that says, like, Navigation Reimagined, subscribe. And then you're paying, I think it's like $5.99 or $9.99 a month for navigation, which is outrageous. You know, like when you buy a refrigerator, they don't say, hey, the shelves in there are, you know, you get them free for a year. After that, we're going to come in and repossess them unless you subscribe. Like, to me, if you buy a car is an appliance. If you buy an appliance, you should not have to have a subscription to make that thing work. Okay, next question. What can I do about my new Prius and its tires? My car has been stuck in the garage for a month because I couldn't get tires for it after flattening 2 at the same time while driving near a construction site. Go watch my Prius tire video. The tires on the new Prius are so problematic, and I've heard from so many people now that have the same issue where they can't get tires for the new Prius, and so their cars are stuck in another city, in their garage, at the Toyota dealer. Like, it's insane. So my advice to all you Prius people out there is, if that's going to be like your one and only car and you don't have another car that you can drive if that Prius ever gets stuck in your garage or whatever, or if you need to road trip it, you can put new wheels on there. So get a wheel that is a more standard size, that can take a more standard tire size. Like, look up like Corolla wheels or Camry wheels. I think they will fit perfectly fine on a new Prius as long as the bolt pattern is the same, and then that will make sure that you can get a tire for those wheels, you know, at any random Toyota dealer, any random discount tire shop, you know, whatever it may be. You'll always, for the most part, be able to find a tire for the car there. Next question. Can I replace my NX's tires with non-run flat tires? Yes, absolutely. Any car that comes with run flat tires, you can go out and put whatever the size whatever the right size is for your wheels, you can put whatever tire you want on there. You do not have to get run flats. Although just be aware, a lot of cars that come with run flats came with run flats because they don't have a spare tire. So one other thing that you can do if you're replacing your run flat tires, you might want to get another fifth, full size tire that you can just bring with you on a road trip or whatever for if you ever get a flat. But yes, you can absolutely replace your run flats with any tire you like. Okay, moving on. Why do you like Ford, or what do you like about them, and how many have you owned? Okay, so between John and I, we're both Ford people. We love Fords, and collectively we've owned 6. John is a Mustang guy, and I'm a truck guy, and those are kind of Ford's like key markets, is Mustangs and trucks. Because that's our thing. We have both owned a number of Fords, John is really disappointed in the new Mustang. I'm not a Mustang person, so I don't really care. But I think in the future, at whatever point it is that Ford finally, if ever, gets rid of the V8 in the Mustang, we'll probably buy one just to have the last V8 of that as well. I also like with Ford that they're not afraid to make kind of ridiculous vehicles. So, and what I mean by ridiculous is like, the Raptor and the high output F-150 Limited and the Shelby cars and the Ranger Raptor and the Bronco Raptor. Like, that is such an American kind of thing. This big truck with ridiculous amounts of power. There's a lawnmower literally right next to me, and I can barely hear it. That is how well insulated this GX is. If that were the new GX, I'd probably hear that right outside my window. Anyway, back to Ford. Are they a great investment? No, not really. Are they cars that I would keep for like 10 years? Probably not. But they're the kind of cars that you buy for fun. So yeah. Oh, although one car I would buy, I'd write a check for and keep it, is the Maverick. Because that thing is, oh my God, I love the Maverick. And I would buy that thing in cash. I would drive it into the ground. I'd buy the hybrid. And I would use it exactly the way I would want to use a truck. Hauling things to the dump, bringing things back from the garden center, all that kind of thing. So that I would buy, yeah. Okay, next up. As someone who has owned many luxury cars but daily drives a normal car, do you think it's worth buying a luxury car? And then what do you think it says when someone chooses something like a UX or a base GLA instead of a nicely optioned Venza? Okay, this is a great question on a number of levels. So as someone who owns a luxury car, my GX, but daily drives the RAV4 Prime that is sitting, I've parked it on the street so I could park this here. I think it depends why you want a luxury car. So for me, I don't care about the badge. Like, I didn't buy this because it's a Lexus. I bought it because it's a V8 Toyota SUV that happens to be a Lexus. I do like the interior as well, and that would be another legitimate reason to buy a luxury car, because you care about quality and materials. So that's why I would buy that QX60. And it's funny because with that QX60 specifically, I had some people who were like, ew, Infiniti, I would never buy an Infiniti over a Lexus. And I'm like, well, then you're an idiot, because you can have a much better car for the same amount of money as a Lexus RX or a TX or whatever, but you're just going to go buy the crap TX or RX because you need to have the Lexus badge. How dumb, that's the wrong reason to buy a luxury car. If all you care about is the badge and what it says to other people about you, you need to get a life and more self-confidence. And I don't mean to be harsh about that, but that's the truth. If for people who care so much about what other people think of them, must be a really sad life to live. I don't live that kind of life, because I have more important things to worry about than what the random person sitting next to me at the red light thinks about me driving a Lexus. Oh, and one more thing on your question about, is it worth buying a luxury car and who should buy a luxury car? The other thing is, okay, I cannot tell you how many nice luxury cars I see out there on the road that look like crap because their owners don't take care of them. So the paint is in just horrible condition. The wheels are all caked up with brake dust, and people buy these cars because they're supposed to look so premium and so fancy and nice, but then they don't keep them looking that way. And so their Audi or Mercedes ends up in worse condition than my Toyota RAV4. And listen, I fully understand that, if you're a parent and you've got 2 or 3 kids and you're juggling a full-time job on top of that, you don't have time to take care of your car. But to me, that's exactly why you shouldn't buy a luxury car, because why are you going to pay so much money for that luxury car only to not take care of it and then have it look like crap out on the road with curved wheels and all that kind of thing? Like, if you're not going to respect your car and treat it like the luxury product it is, go buy a great Toyota Grand Highlander, or, you know, a Honda Pilot, or whatever it may be. Buy the mainstream car. Save yourself some money in the process of buying a car that you're not going to take care of. I think that's all there is to it. There's lawn people here now, and crap is hitting my car, and anyway. Okay, this next question is a really good one. Is there a rule of thumb people should follow when spending money on a car? Does the 30% rule still apply? So if you're not familiar with the 30% rule, it was this kind of old rule of thumb that you should not spend the cost of a car you're buying, so total cost, not monthly payment, but the total like MSRP number of the car you're looking at should not exceed more than 30% of your total annual income. The problem with that rule is, for many people out there, not just Americans, but around the globe, inflation has gone wild. So cars have gotten like exponentially more expensive, while wages have stagnated. So for people who are making like, you know, $70,000, well, what is 30% of $70,000? That's probably like $21,000. You can't get a new car for $21,000 unless it's like a Versa. Like a Civic LX today is $24,000 MSRP. On the other hand, so I'm just going to be very transparent for sake of this video. This GX is about 26 or 27% of my personal annual income. And this is more than I was wanting to spend on a car. So I have not hit that 30% number, and I'm still like, this is a really expensive car for my finances and the way I manage my money. So in theory, on paper, with the 30% rule, I could afford to go buy a new GX over Trail Plus at freaking like $80,000. I would never do that because I can't imagine spending more than $65,000 on this car. So I think, to me, what it's all about how much you feel comfortable spending. The one rule of thumb that my parents imparted on me that I actually do think is a really good rule of thumb: whatever car you buy, okay, let's say you're making payments on it, whatever car you buy, you should be able to make 2 or 3 times the monthly payment, the minimum monthly payment. So let's say that I bought a car with a monthly payment of $500, okay? To be able to afford it, I should be able to comfortably make between $1,000 and $1,500 a month in payments on that car. Here's the other thing about that. For a lot of lenders out there, okay, if they see that you've made double, so let's say that you're like 2.5 years into your loan, right? And you've made double payments or even triple payments the entire time for that period. And then all of a sudden one day you lose your job and you can't afford to make your car payment at all, right? So not even the minimum. A lot of lenders will go, well, hey, look, you're way ahead of the loan schedule. You've made double payments the whole time. We can absolutely forgive, the next 6 months of your car payment because you've done this. You've demonstrated really responsible financial behavior on this loan. And actually, Toyota Financial Services, which is Toyota Lexus's in-house lender, they will actually push your payment due date out to keep up with the double or triple payments you've made. So, for example, when I've done loans with them in the past and I've done that kind of thing, my minimum due might actually be like 2 years in the future because I've made double or triple payments that whole time. That's what I always tell people when they ask me about this kind of thing. Okay, the next 2 questions are kind of, they're from the same person, and it's kind of the same thing. So the first one is, what are your forbidden fruit cars? And that means, like, what can we not get here that I would love to have? All the wagons, first of all the station wagons, and I'm going to be looking down at my phone because I thought this through and I listed them out. I want a Corolla Sports Touring Wagon, which is the Corolla wagon that we don't get here. I want the Subaru Lavore. I want a Seat Leon Cupra R Wagon. I want a Golf R Wagon. I also want a Suzuki Jimny. I want a Volkswagen Touareg, but the new Touareg. Not the one that we got here, but the new one that exists in Europe. I want a Land Cruiser Prado 150, so this car, but I want the 2-door. I think that thing is so cute. I want the Lexus LM. I want a Mercedes V220, and I really want a Volkswagen Up. I think those are so cute. We see them from time to time because they were sold in Mexico. And so you see a lot of them here on the roads in Texas. And I just die every time I see one because I would rock the living hell out of an Up. Next up, what cars from your lifetime would you buy if you could go back and buy them new? Money is not a factor. Okay, so I'm 30, so we're talking the last 30 years. Land Cruiser 100 and 200 series, V8 4Runner, V8 Mercury Mountaineer in silver, GX550 all-wheel drive, 2015 era F-150 Raptor, Accord V6 Coupe, Acura TL super handling all-wheel drive with the 3.7 V6. God, I love that car. Volvo V60 Polestar in cyan blue, Acura TSX Sportwagon, and I would really like to have a 2014 Mercedes E500 sedan. That was the classiest E-Class there ever has been and ever will be, and I miss it dearly. Okay, next up. This one actually comes from the same question too. This is the last one from that person. Would you ever buy a G-Wagon? No. That I can honestly say no. So like I said in the money question, I would not. This is about as much as I think is worth spending on a car. At least given my income and given the way I prioritize money. If I'm going to spend over $100,000 on a car, I'm going to just go buy real estate instead. What am I buying next? Honestly, okay, I need you guys to be sitting down for this. I have no plans to buy a new car. I think, so last year was insane. We bought like 4 or 5 new cars. But we ended the year with exactly the cars we wanted. RAV4 Prime, GX, V6 Camry. So now that we're happy with the cars that we have, I really want a project car. I have a good family friend who has a 2006 Lexus IS 250 in green. She has had that thing new since 2006. She keeps it in immaculate condition. I want to buy that thing off of her when she's done with it. But she loves that car so much, she's like, I'm never getting rid of it. I also have an aunt in Sunnyvale, California, who has a 97 first-year Honda CR-V, also in immaculate condition because she's old, never drives it. I want to buy that off of her as well. So those are probably the two. Like if either one of them called me up today and said, I'm ready to get rid of my car, do you want it? I would be on the next plane out to buy that car. So yeah, not in the market for anything right now. Okay, next question. I just got a TX550H Plus in Caviar. Congratulations. A lot of folks have been getting these now, and I'm really excited to start hearing how it's doing for you all. Because that one is the one with the V6, the old 2GR V6 and the plug-in hybrid. Can you make a video about how you care for cars with a black exterior? So yeah, we've got my RAV4 Prime is black. This is black. My 4Runner is black. I buy black cars. And personally, really, I don't really do anything special, but we always wash our cars by hand. Never, ever take your black car through an automatic car wash. Actually, forget the black part. Never, ever take any car through an automatic car wash. Wash it by hand with a microfiber mitt. Dry it with a non-abrasive towel. And when you're washing and drying, go in straight lines. Don't do this, because this is how you get swirl marks, and then on black cars that's really noticeable. So when you're washing it, go in straight lines across the car. Same thing with drying. When you're drying it, kind of drag your drying towel across the car in straight lines. Kind of the way, like when you mow a lawn and you go in straight lines, do the same thing with washing your car. Okay, next question, and this is a good one. Everyone says that the NX Hybrid needs premium gas, but you say you ran yours on regular. Can you explain how you know that regular fuel is okay to use? I'm so glad someone asked this question because I've been wanting to talk about this for a bit and I just haven't found the right time and place. So, little known fact, but whenever you buy a car, you get a little book that tells you all about how to care for your car and all of its features, and that is your owner's manual. So I'll put some Okay, sorry, back to the owner's manual. So regardless of whether it's Toyota, Lexus, Honda, Acura, Ford, Infiniti, GM, whoever, every owner's manual will always tell you exactly what you need to know about the fluids and such that your car needs. So the NX manual says, and I'm going to read straight verbatim here and I'll put the screen grab in the video, recommended to use premium unleaded gasoline with an octane rating of 91 or higher for optimum engine performance. You may use unleaded gasoline with an octane rating as low as 87. In this case, engine performance may be decreased. Use of unleaded gasoline with an octane rating lower than 87 may result in engine knocking. Persistent engine knocking can lead to engine damage. Okay, so some engines, and you see this with Mazda actually as well, when it says optimum performance with 91 or whatever, that just means you're going to get a few more horsepower out of that using premium fuel because it's going to run on a slightly different tune. But in a hybrid, I don't care about optimum engine performance. Like, I don't care if I'm getting like, 220 versus 230 horsepower or whatever. I'm going to use regular fuel because it's going to cost me less to run that car. And I'm not buying that to drive as a race car or anything like that. Now let's look at what the GX says. So in the GX manual, it says select premium unleaded gasoline with an octane rating of 91 or higher required for optimum engine performance and fuel economy. If the octane rating is less than 91, damage to the engine may occur and may void the warranty. So there's a real clear difference between what the NX manual said and what the GX manual said. The NX manual very clearly says anything less than 87 can cause engine damage. The GX manual says anything less than 91 can cause damage. So I take Toyota, whatever they say in the manual is what I do. Because the NX says that I can very well run 87 octane, I ran 87 octane. Because the GX manual says 91, I run 91. Read the manual. It tells you exactly how Toyota wants you to care for your car. That's all you need to know. Okay, you've mentioned that you sold cars for more than you bought them for. How do you do that? Yeah, okay, so this has actually happened a number of times, and I've also sold cars for exactly what I paid for them, which means I didn't take a loss on them. So my 2014 Tacoma, which I bought for 23 and sold for 25, and then my 2020 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, which I bought for 46 and sold for $50,000 4 years later. And then I also bought my Outback and my NX, and I sold Outback, NX, and Prius, and sold them for basically the same price I paid, so I didn't take a loss by flipping them. In all of those cases, all 5 of those vehicles, again, like I said earlier, depreciation is all about what people are willing to pay for them. So during COVID, when I sold it wasn't during COVID, it was like a little bit after it, but chip shortage, car shortage, blah, 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 was still in full swing. So when I sold my 4Runner, and actually this is still true to this day, people are willing to pay a stupid amount of money for a used TRD Pro 4Runner. So because I paid only $46,000 for my 4Runner TRD Pro back in 2019, and there are idiot people here in 2023 and 24 willing to pay way over that for a used one, the Toyota dealer gave me $50,000, even though they knew I only paid $46,000, because they knew that they could sell my TRD Pro 4Runner for like $55,000. And then same thing with the NX. When I sold my NX, you couldn't get a new NX hybrid. So the Lexus dealer was willing to give me basically what I paid for it because they could sell it above market rate because somebody would buy that. And sure enough, when they took my NX in on trade, the very next day, somebody drove down from Dallas, bought my NX for more than new price, and very happily, paid it and drove it home. So again, back to what I said earlier about depreciation being all about what someone is willing to pay for your car, or for any car on the market, on the secondhand market. Yeah, if you have a really desirable car, like the Prius was, like the NX was, like the 4Runner was, like the RAV4 Prime is, and probably like this will be in the future, people are stupid. People are willing to pay astronomical amounts of money for what they want. And that's how you sell cars for more than you bought them for. We're on our last 5 questions, so I apologize. What do you think about dealer markups? Is it ever worth it to pay them? Never. Ever. Not happening. No. Look you don't need a car that badly. You do not ever, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what the circumstances. You never need a car enough to buy it at above the MSRP. So I'm sure a lot of these, again, idiot people buying GXs and Land Cruisers are probably paying $10,000 over sticker because they've got to have the big shiny thing and show off to their friend and have, be the first one on the road to have that car. That is the dumbest fucking thing you can ever do. So no. Okay, what do you hope to see in the next RAV4? I hope it goes all hybrid, kind of the same way the Camry did. And they probably will take exactly what's in the Camry and plop it in the RAV4 as well. I would also really like to see them commit to making 50% of them plug-in hybrids, because the RAV4 Prime is an amazing, it's like, that's the perfect car. And if they can figure out how to get the battery capacity to make 50% of all RAV4's hybrids, that would be amazing. And then we wouldn't have these shortages that we're seeing with the RAV4 Prime even 4 years on. That aside, I'm going to have my eye on the price, because as we've said, Toyota pricing is outrageous today. The Camry remained pretty similar, all things considered, to the old price, and I'm hoping that stays true for the RAV4, because what makes the I've said many times in this video, what makes a car great is when it's a great value. Right now, the RAV4 is a decent value, all things considered. But if it goes up in price by like 10 to 20%, like we're seeing with the trucks, that's not going to be a great value anymore, and thus it's not going to be a great car anymore. But if they can keep the price around the same, maybe a little bit, like maybe 1 to 5% higher, going all hybrid, that'll be a home run for sure. Okay, thoughts on the new Civic Hybrid? So excited for the new Civic Hybrid. I love the Civic. Okay, so if I were to go, let's say again, knocking on wood here, let's say that the RAV4 Prime got totaled tomorrow. I would go to my Honda dealer and buy a Civic Hybrid whenever they are available, because I would rock the holy living hell out of a Civic Hybrid. That is an amazing driving appliance. It is going to get great power. The Civic's interior is phenomenal. And all things considered, I really, really, really like the way Honda's hybrid system drives. And that's a great cheap car. You can write a check for that and drive it for the next, 15, 20 years. Building on this last question, some people say the Honda hybrid system isn't as efficient as the Toyota system. Would you take the Civic Hybrid over a Corolla hybrid? Yes, I would. And that is true, that the Honda system is less efficient than the Toyota system. It's because of the fact that Toyota's is a parallel hybrid system, which is more efficient but not as nice to drive. That's kind of why you get that kind of drony, groany unpleasantness in the Toyota hybrid system. It's efficient AF. Honda's hybrids are serial hybrids. That means that most of the time, the gas engine is not directly in the driveline. It's not directly driving the wheels. So you get a much smoother drive with that kind of system, but it's less efficient. Because of what I value in cars, because I value the way that cars drive, I would much rather have the Civic. I would much rather have the Civic in general over the Corolla. I have nothing against the Corolla. It's a great car at an amazing price point, but I also think it's kind of dumpy looking. I think the Civic is a much nicer, more mature, more elegant, more almost luxury looking kind of product in the mainstream class at a really great price point. So I'd take the Civic design and drive and sacrifice a little bit of efficiency to have it. Okay, second to last question. What car brand would I buy now that Toyota and Lexus' new premium and luxury cars are garbage? I would probably, if I was to lease, I would probably buy an Audi, because I love Audi's design and technology and their lighting. That is one thing I am a sucker for, is the whole Vorsprung durch Technik kind of mantra that Audi has, and the way that manifests in their cars. They also really live you've probably seen their advertisements that say future is an attitude. They really live that, and I love that about their cars. It's not just a marketing thing. It is truly there, kind of the same way that Lexus used to be all about the pursuit of perfection. Audi is, Vorsprung durch Technik basically translates to progress through technology. Toyota, on the other hand, is over here like progress through ripping people off, and broke as an attitude. And I don't align with those brand values at all. So probably an Audi if I had to lease. And then if I were to buy, it would be that QX60 all day long. Or MDX Type S. That's another one I would think about for sure. And finally, we are on our last question. So if you guys have stuck through this whole thing, like, God bless you. Would you ever go back to Volvo? Why or why not? I probably would not go back to Volvo. I loved my XC90 the whole time I had it, and I do think that the XC90 is still one of the best looking cars in that class. However, the thing about Volvo at the time that I leased mine, which was 2016, they were way ahead of the game in design, in technology, in kind of everything about the car. And I think that actually shows, because even 8 to 9 years on, the XC90 still looks really great inside and out. It doesn't look dated. It doesn't feel dated. The technology is kind of dated at this point, but all in all, still a great product today. However, everyone else has kind of caught up to Volvo at this point, so they're no longer way ahead of the game the way that they were at the time. And there are better options out there. QX60, like we just drove, that would be my pick in that class, hands down. Because I love the V6, the interior was beautiful, technology was great, that Bose sound system was outstanding. So I probably would not go back to Volvo. So yeah, those are all the questions. You guys, again, are awesome for just writing all this in. I love the community that you all have helped me build here. And it just makes me smile that so many people, that you guys write to me every week. But now, let's get to the giveaway. And I'm so excited for this one because, so I like to do a giveaway with these Q&As because I really want to give something back to you all, you know, for supporting me and for, you know, watching all my videos. And, you know, for any of you who watched all the way through this one, like, again, thank you for that. So the giveaway this time is going to be, if you watched my Land Cruiser, my rant on the Land Cruiser pricing, in that video, I showed you the way I would spec it out. I would get the blue middle trim Land Cruiser with the 1 options package. I would buy that one because I love the look of it. I love the blue color. I love the square headlights. I love the big wheels that I spec'd on mine. And that is going to be my giveaway. No, not the full size, not an actual $70,000 Land Cruiser. I don't make that much here on YouTube. But in Japan, they make a die-cast model car of everything that they make. And guess what? They have started making little Land Cruiser 250s. And that is going to be my giveaway. One of you is going to win a 1:30 scale Land Cruiser 250 in it's called Smoky Blue in Japan, and it's basically like bang on to what we get here in the States. The only difference with the Japanese spec is they don't get the white roof, so it's going to be full body color in the blue color, square headlights, the big 20-inch wheels that I would spec on mine, and that's going to be my giveaway to you, to thank you so much for all your support, all the love and the likes here on the channel. So the way you're going to enter the giveaway, I'm going to do it exactly the same way I did last time. So what you're going to do is you're going to email me at the email you see here on screen with your name and whatever your YouTube screen name is, so that I can make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And then in that email, you're going to let me know that you want to be entered in the giveaway. Now, hear me loud and clear. Please, please, please do not send me any personal contact info. Don't send me your address. Don't send me your phone number, because I don't want, you know, just in case my email were to ever get hacked, I don't want all your information in there unless I need it. 3 weeks after this video goes live, I will choose a winner at random for sake of fairness, so that you each have an equal shot. I will check to make sure that that winner is subscribed to my channel, and that, you know, that they are one of my wonderful people here. And then I will email you back if you win the giveaway. You'll also hear from me if you don't win the giveaway, just so you know that the drawing has happened. But if you are the winner, I will email you back directly, and then I will ask you for where do you want me to send your little Land Cruiser. I will package it up, send it to the mailing address that you give me, and hopefully not long after that, you will receive a little Land Cruiser 250 in the Josh-spec, which is, again, what you're seeing here on screen. Oh, and also, if you want one of these Land Cruisers and you don't win the giveaway, they seem to be readily available on eBay now, and they've got like all the different colors. I saw white, I saw black, the blue, and then I also saw that kind of like sandy beige color, with the white roof as well. I'll link the ones I saw down below in the description here as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea how much fun this channel has been, and how much I appreciate and love all of you. From the bottom of my heart to yours, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Great luck in the giveaway if you choose to enter, and I will see you in the next one.